Is the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback room secretly imploding, or are we witnessing the most calculated chess move in NFL history? Something absolutely wild just went down at the Jefferson Health Training Complex that nobody saw coming. Everyone thought the depth chart was locked in concrete, but the reality unfolding on the field suggests a complete identity crisis, or a genius-level strategy, is brewing right under our noses. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. Forget the drama surrounding A.J. Brown's contract or the usual salary cap panic. What we're looking at is the heartbeat of this franchise, the quarterback position. The hierarchy behind Jalen Hurts, which was supposed to be as stable as a rock, has suddenly become the most volatile, unpredictable, and downright fascinating story of the entire summer. Why did the coaching staff suddenly shift the gears on the second-team reps? And more importantly, why is the rookie, Cole Payton, currently the biggest X factor in the league? We are breaking it all down right now. Heading into these organized team activities, the blueprint for the Eagles seemed simple, professional, and entirely predictable. You had Jalen Hurts standing tall as the undisputed face of the franchise. Right behind him, Tanner McKee was firmly cemented as the primary backup, the guy groomed to step in if the unthinkable happened. Then you had the seasoned veteran presence of Andy Dalton, there to provide high-level mentorship and emergency insurance. Finally, you had the rookie, Cole Payton, fighting for scraps in a crowded room. It was clean. It was organized. It made sense. Then, the media was allowed into the facility for the first open practice of the week, and the entire narrative exploded. The veteran, Andy Dalton, was suddenly taking the second-team reps. Tanner McKee, the guy everyone penciled in as the clear QB2, was relegated to the sidelines for those specific snaps. Was this a massive downgrade for McKee? Was it a sign that the veteran has officially usurped him? Or is there something much more cynical and brilliant going on behind the scenes? Who do you think deserves that coveted QB2 spot? The seasoned veteran or the young talent with upside? Drop a name in the comments, and let's see where the fan base really stands. Before anyone starts calling for a total roster overhaul, we have to look at the cold, hard logic of the coaching staff. It is vital to understand that in the NFL, what you see on one random Tuesday in May isn't necessarily the final word for September. Coaches love to rotate. They want to see how these guys react to different pressures, different receivers, and different offensive looks. However, there's a nuance here that is impossible to ignore. When a backup quarterback takes reps with the second-team offense, they aren't just tossing balls to bench warmers. They're throwing to players who are actually fighting for spots on the final 53-man roster. They are working with the tight ends, receivers, and offensive linemen who will be the difference between winning and losing in late-game situations. For a veteran like Andy Dalton, those reps are a masterclass in efficiency. For Tanner McKee, being cycled out of that group while a 15-year pro takes the helm is a major development. But wait until you hear the real reason why the front office might be showcasing the veteran over the youngster, because it points to a massive roster shakeup. Here is where the situation shifts from interesting to insane. The Eagles are sitting on a luxury that most teams would kill for. Two backups who are legitimate NFL-caliber signal callers. Tanner McKee is 26. He's got the arm, and he's been soaking up the system for years. He is exactly the kind of player a rebuilding team, or a contender dealing with an injury crisis, would trade a premium draft pick for. Think about the psychology of the front office. By putting Andy Dalton in the spotlight as the guy running the second-team offense, they are effectively advertising his reliability to the rest of the league. It creates a perception that Dalton is the primary backup. If the Eagles decide to move on from McKee, they aren't selling a backup who lost his job. They are selling a high-upside prospect who is simply behind a veteran on a loaded depth chart. It's a classic move to maximize trade value. By keeping McKee in a position where he looks ready to lead, the Eagles increase the likelihood of landing a 2027 draft pick or other assets that can help them extend their young stars like Jalen Carter or Quinyon Mitchell. It's not just about the quarterback position. It's about the long-term health of the entire roster. But if you think the story ends with the veterans, You haven't been paying attention to the most chaotic element in the mix, Cole Payton. Payton is not your typical camp arm. The coaching staff isn't just looking at him as a guy Smith. They're looking at him as a potential hybrid weapon, an H-back style player who can utilize his unique athletic profile to create absolute nightmares for opposing defenses. At the latest practices, he was limited to 7-on-7 drills, meaning the team is being careful not to overexpose him to the pass rush just yet. But the moment those pads come on in July, the real evaluation begins. If the coaches decide that Payton's skill set is too valuable to leave off the roster, we could be looking at an unprecedented scenario where the Eagles carry 4 quarterbacks, not as traditional signal callers, but as a diverse set of offensive weapons. History has shown that keeping day 3 picks is a gamble, but the H-back angle changes the math entirely. If they can build a system around his versatility, he becomes a position player, not just a backup quarterback. So, what is the reality for the 2026 season? We have a starter in Jalen Hurts who is facing more scrutiny than ever before. We have a veteran who brings absolute consistency and cap-friendly reliability in Andy Dalton. We have a tradable asset in Tanner McKee who could net the team valuable future draft picks. And we have a wild card in Cole Payton who could reinvent how the team uses their depth chart. The next 60 days are going to be a battlefield. Every single snap in training camp is going to be scrutinized, and the hierarchy we all think we know could be completely inverted by the time the first kickoff arrives. The Eagles are in the midst of a massive, quiet transition. They are stress testing their depth, calculating their trade leverage, and experimenting with unique player roles that could define their season. This isn't just off-season talk. This is a franchise putting every single piece on the table to see what survives. The order, the roles, and even the final number of quarterbacks they decide to keep. It is all happening in real time. Are the Eagles setting themselves up for a disaster? Or are they quietly building a roster so deep it will leave the rest of the league in the dust? One thing is for sure. You need to keep your eyes on the quarterback rotation in the coming weeks. The answer to this mystery is buried in the training camp drills, and we're going to be here to uncover every single layer of it as it happens. Do you see the Eagles keeping all these guys and making it work, or is a massive trade looming on the horizon? Drop your hottest take in the comment section, smash that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss a single beat of the action. I'll be back the second the next update drops.